Hello and welcome to another video. So today we're taking a look at basically just a kind of Jorm blood deck, I guess. Obviously my main problem is I've only got one Jorm, so it's the only reason it's being run in this deck. Otherwise it's pretty stock standard Dark Feast blood list as far as every other card goes. The only thing I might do would be cut back one Pure Hearted Singer and maybe just cut down on another card that's over 3 of here, probably something like Alexandrite Demon, cut that down and just add in a couple more Jorms, but I just, like I said, don't have them. Maybe even cut the Florist down to 2. I've seen a lot of people do that to fit in it, but honestly, a lot of fun. I always enjoy playing these blood decks, they always do pretty well, and we're going to get right into it and take a look. The first deck we're up against is the pretty popular Mid Shadow. Mid Shadow is one of the most powerful decks in the current meta, and it's no surprise with its high-end, forward bloody nature that can just absolutely stomp opponents. There are a lot of decks I would love to cover but lack cards for. I'm hoping the mini expansion does some good for me and I can get some stuff for you guys that will be a little more interesting, as we're really just rehashing some decks, checking how they're performing right now until the mini expansion comes along, and then we'll cover some more interesting decks hopefully. So I try and go for as much self-damage as I can. I don't try and force the Florist too much anymore. Usually it's just a matter of running the deck as best you can in the early game, trying to deal with threats as you go, and just piling that self-damage up so that you can potentially go for some decent plays later on. And of course, I really lacked that turn. Not much I could really do to pull anything crazy off on turn 4. And I wanted to save Evil Eye Demon for turn 5, where I'm going to have the Evo to pretty much wipe the board. So the Evil Eye Demon will be pretty much perfect, especially once we play the Gift of Bloodkin. That'll up it to the 3 damage that we needed to wipe this board clean. And we're left with a 1-1 and a 5-4. This match was, I would say, extremely close. If it wasn't for Shadow's misplaying, we definitely would have lost 100%. But I still thought it was a good show of how the deck performs and how well it can do. I mean, while Shadow had the edge this time round, it was definitely not going to have the edge every time round. And there was the good potential that I could have actually stopped the lethal had I played correctly. So if I hadn't have stuffed up here, Shadow wouldn't have had lethal on me anyway. It was the move I made here to attack first before using my 1-1 that screwed me over. If I had have ran that into the 2-1 first, then used the 6-6, there's no way they would have really had that much potential to go for lethal on me, as they would have missed out on pretty much the extra damage overall. At least I think that would have made the difference. Judging on how the deck played out, I would say that was kind of the big effect it had. As you can see, they got to keep that 2-1 up because I couldn't really deal with it now, which got them in extra damage that they just wouldn't have got otherwise. So they wouldn't have got that 2 damage, they wouldn't have got the extra 2 out of it, which they're going to get once I have to kill it off. And that would have saved us 4 health, which would have made all the difference, as we've put them right within lethal range of Dark Feast Bat now. And with this Lyria and Craving, they actually have 12 damage on board. Unfortunately for them though, they actually missed and attacked first, which really did screw over their whole turn. I don't know whether that was just complete accident on their part or whether this was their aim all along, but either way, it kind of corrected itself from our mistake, so one mistake on both sides made all the difference for us and allowed us to pretty easily go for the 9 damage lethal. And next up, I have seen a few portal lists floating around. A lot of artifact kind of ones, a few Omen ones, but it's just a mixed bag when it comes to portal. There doesn't seem to be any one portal deck that kind of dominates every portal deck at the moment floating around, but it's nice to see. I mean, I don't mind coming up against portal. It's not usually a hard matchup by any means. It's usually just one that is fun to play, and in situations like this, it's nice to cover that when we've kind of run out of other decks that I can currently cover effectively without just viling half my collection, and trust me, I'm not going down that road again. So we start off well with the early draw. I always like that, especially if our opponent hasn't really played anything, and if we're going first, usually is a huge advantage. So Pure-Hearted Singer on the play, great one as well. Turn 4 is looking reasonably promising, provided we can get a decent draw here, and Restless Parish is a perfect draw. We're actually going to have a really good turn. We're going to get some decent damage on our opponent, and we're going to get a Florist out of this, so why not? So that gives us a very, very solid board against the Portal player. Of course, this is going to make the game very quick. We're definitely going down the more aggro rabbit hole than going for the finisher with the Dark Beast Bat. And that's a really nice trade on their part. Omen of Destruction does a wonderful job at cleaning that up. But it's probably going to be too late. Especially with that Snarling Chains draw. So I probably should have played the Vera first. That was probably the only big mistake in this turn. If I had have played the Vera first, I could have then took advantage of Snarling Chains and kept 1 health, but really the matchup we're currently going for doesn't make a huge difference. Actually, Dark Beast Bat may be our usable card. I was thinking I won on turn 6, but maybe I didn't. Although we are going to be very close to lethal anyway, once you account for the fact that Omen of Lust is just going to be pretty nuts of a play. So Snarling drops them to 10, Omen of Lust picks up the kill, gets a buff, going up to a 2-4, and a nice Evo on the 1-3 bear, just to keep it around, is going to get us 5 damage, leaving them with just 5 health. It's really not a good position to be in as the Portal player, and I think that's why it does lead to their concede in the end, as there's just not much they can do. They try and flood these puppets out as best they can, but it's really going to be too late at this point. They could try and mitigate the damage, limit what they can do, but really that would just buy them a small amount of time, and it probably wasn't going to be enough. So definitely in our favour. So this is definitely a deck I'll be playing to just get my master rank up so that I can get those final rewards, my score rewards that I do need to manage to finish at some point. I may even try this in Grand Prix as making this video. We're in the final, nearly the final stages. We're in Group A Part 2, so that'll be great and we'll do that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button and subscribe. You will find the deck list in the description below. If you've got any other games you want me to cover that might be fun in the future, definitely leave a comment with a recommendation, as I just don't know what else to cover on this channel overall. I've mainly just covered things I enjoy, and if you guys enjoy that too, definitely give me a heads up, as it's a lot of fun to do. But Shadowverse is currently in a pretty stale state, and hopefully the mini expansion makes a difference, but if it doesn't, it's going to be a pretty boring month. So hopefully there can be something more exciting going on. But until next time, see ya.